Story two is Brighton's new home for women's football, and we say maybe a climate test case. So Brighton and Hove Albion Football Club are planning something historic in the UK. They are going to be the first to build a purpose-built stadium for their women's team. The new ground is set to open in the 2030-2031 season. It's going to hold about 10,000 fans. It's going to sit right next to the current stadium, connected by a bridge walkway, and it's going to cost about 75 to 80 million pounds. Right now, Brighton women play their home games 20 miles or so away in a place called Crawley. So this moves everything onto one campus, and that's where, for us, this story gets interesting. Of course, new stadiums always come with a carbon cost up front. You've got steel, concrete, construction emissions. That's very obvious. But Brighton's approach could actually soften that impact because they're building this new women's stadium next to their existing stadium. They're avoiding, moving to a new remote, possibly greenfield site. But also they're tapping into existing transport links. So trains, buses and infrastructure that already are connected to their current stadium. That's going to mean fewer fragmented venues, less travel and better coordination for the club. So it's maybe a quieter kind of sustainability win. There's also, for me, something really interesting in the size. So the new stadium is 10,000 seats, which for us feels like the right-sized stadium. It's being built for the demand that is in place right now, not perhaps a vanity or a prestige project. And that really matters because oversized venues often waste energy and resources, and they can see decades of underuse before perhaps that growth moves in. So it sounds and feels very savvy. Because it's a new build, it's a real opportunity, of course, to really lead on sustainability. And we know that Brighton Hove Albion, as a signatory to UN Sports for Climate Action Framework, have emissions reductions targets. So we can imagine when plans for the new stadium come out, we'd expect to see renewable energy, low carbon materials, water reuse systems, and all planned in from day one, obviously. So obviously, if we zoom out from this is bigger than just Brighton, although it's a great piece of news coming through for the women's game. Clubs like Kansas City Current in the US have already opened purpose-built women's stadiums, and others are following. And this shows more investment in women's sport, which we love to see because that is accelerating. And with it comes the chance to embed sustainability at the core of this growth, but also the cultural shift as well. So research shows, and we know ourselves, that many women players see climate change as already affecting the game. So we have a lot of female players speaking out around the topic, from doing reports of the impacts on climate change, like Amy Turner and Hayley Ladd, speaking out about this around Earth Day. We saw the 100 women players around the 2023 Women's World Cup offsetting their emissions. We're already seeing a lot of female players take action in this area. So as we see investment growing into the women's game, what we can see is the fan base, which we know is values driven, growing. It also gives those female athletes an ever growing platform. And that is only going to be better news for socializing and platforming the causes they care about, which we know is often climate and the environment. So it's not just about a new stadium for us. This is about the next generation of sport infrastructure. It's also about the wider context of investment into women's sport, but also from the stadium perspective, we see this project as a leaner, smarter, and more aligned with a climate conscious future. Now, just an add-on to this story at the other end of the spectrum, because there was a brilliant piece by Victor Caroselli out in Sports Business Journal this week as well about the Spotify Camp Nou redevelopment. So FC Barcelona, on the other end of the spectrum, has got a 1.87 billion project designed, not just to drive revenue, but also we think is helping to redefine sustainable sport venues as well. So again, we just spoke about Brighton. The updated Spotify Camp Nou is going to have a capacity of 105,000, so 10 times the size of Brighton's new women's stadium. They're going to include expanded VIP and digital experiences, and they want to unlock exponential growth. The shift here is diversification. So even during construction, a temporary museum has been set up to continue to draw visitors to go to the original site. And that's brought in 2 million visitors a year. And also in terms of the cost of the project, really importantly, it's brought in revenue. Post-rebuild, it's expected that that museum could generate $82 million a year, so a not insignificant amount of money. Sustainability is central to this project. It's not cosmetic. The club reused 120,000 tonnes of concrete, which cut its emissions by 50% without increasing costs. The stadium's going to run on 100% renewable energy with solar and energy storage already planned and will reduce long-term expenses. And also, as we saw in stories around Pakistan and Bangladesh cricket recently, having that 100% renewable energy and battery storage on site means they are going to be insulated against volatile energy shocks as well. So really, really savvy and really well thought through. They're also going to have rainwater systems, and that, of course, will reduce costs, operational costs in the longer term, and ease pressure on local infrastructure. The fans are even involved in this transition, so small surcharges are being put on tickets and merchandise to support green initiatives, showing that sustainability is going all the way through this project. All of this reminded me again that stadiums are not just venues anymore. They're complex business ecosystems where sustainability, technology, and profitability are deeply intertwined. If Barcelona gets this right, the Nou Camp won't just be one of football's most iconic homes. It's going to also now be a blueprint for how clubs worldwide balance financial pressure and environmental responsibility. And in an era, as we know, where both costs and climate risks are rising exponentially, that might be the most valuable asset of all.